দর্শক আমন্ত্রণ আন্তর্জাতিক সম্পর্ক উন্নয়ন বিষয়ক আরটিভি নিয়মিত অনুষ্ঠান ডিপ্লোম্যাটিক জোনে। আপনাদের সঙ্গে আছে মিস্টার আশিক রহমান। আমাদের আজকের অতিথি বাংলাদেশে দ্য রয়্যাল নরওয়ে দূতাবাসের রাষ্ট্রদূত হিজ এক্সেলেন্সি এসপেন রিক্টার স্ভেনসেন। Very welcome, Your Excellency, at Diplomatic Zone.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. We are very happy that we find you here in our place. Prior to starting our discussion, let's watch a video on beautiful Norway.
উত্তর ইউরোপের একটি রাজতান্ত্রিক রাষ্ট্রের High mission to represent Norway as ambassador in Bangladesh. We see you have an excellent career profile and you are serving in Bangladesh in different capacities. Would you please share your experience with us so far?
I have been now as ambassador here for 16 months.
Well,
But before that, 10 years back, I also used to work with Bangladesh, and I visited the country several times between 2007 and 2010. And for that reason, I have something to compare with.
Well.
10 years back, and to come back then in 2020 and to see the new version.
new Bangladesh, new
the
version.
New Bangladesh.
Well, what is the difference significantly you find?
Well, first of all, it's very easy to see that there has been a decade of economic growth, and that is visible everywhere. Good things and bad things. The traffic is worse now than it was 10 years ago, and of course that is something which I see all the mega projects now to remedy and to improve the infrastructure. It's very important that this is being taken seriously, because that is important to be able to continue the economic growth and the progress. So this is a big difference.
That's the good
from
things.
last time.
That infrastructure, we are working on infrastructure.
Yes, exactly.
For development. Well, very good to know, Excellency. Your observation, Bangladesh and Norway are enjoying excellent bilateral relations. Norway, among the earliest to recognize independent Bangladesh. How do you anticipate this relation developing in coming days?
Well, you are right in observing that we were early to recognize Bangladesh, and there was a big popular movement and a lot of sympathy for the case of Bangladesh in Norway in the 1970-71, and we recognized in 72. And in the decades that have passed since then, we have our cooperation has developed maybe in parallel with Bangladesh itself. So we have gone through some, emergency aid in the beginning, and then development cooperation. Now, these days, it's much more business, much more commercial cooperation, and other forms also of cooperation. I see this continuing. I see we will continue to focus on the economic cooperation. And I think also that in many ways, Norway being a rich country and all of that, we have learned some lessons, and I think that we could be a good dialogue partner with Bangladesh for actually this.
Ambassador Sven Richter, as a developing country, making a lot of progress, in your view, what are the challenges for Bangladesh in near future, and what are the opportunities as well?
The opportunities are obvious. Bangladesh has all the potential to become a developed nation, a rich country. We've seen the hard work that this country has already done. If this is continued in a good way, then the potential is enormous. There are many challenges as well, and I think one of the most important things to really make sure that this country can really prosper is to have to focus very much on the strength of the national institutions. So this is an extremely important part of the development, to make sure you have good independent institutions that sort of as pillars in society, and that make it possible for people to fulfill their potential, to be educated, to start businesses and be part of the economic history.
Thank you for your observation. In your view, what more does Bangladesh need to do to attract more investment from Norway?
First of all, there are very few Norwegian companies operating in Bangladesh. We are a small country, and we have few companies here. But we have some very important ones, and maybe the most important of all, of course, being Grameenphone, which is 55.8% owned by Norwegian Telenor.
Exactly.
And that has been
that
has been a revolution for Bangladesh.
Exactly.
To see the digital revolution, to see how citizens all over this country, even out in Sundarbans and in other remote areas, are now digital citizens of the world.
Under network.
Yes, absolutely. And the success of Grameenphone, of course, is enormous, and investments have been made.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your support, especially for Grameenphone from the part of Norwegian side. We'll talk more after a short break. দর্শক দেখছেন আন্তর্জাতিক সম্পর্ক উন্নয়ন বিষয়ক RTV নিয়মিত অনুষ্ঠান ডিপ্লোম্যাটিক জোন। এই পর্যায়ে নিচ্ছি বিরতি, ফিরছি একটু পরেই। সে পর্যন্ত আমাদের সঙ্গেই থাকুন। দর্শক, আবার আমন্ত্রণ ডিপ্লোম্যাটিক জোনে। আজ কথা বলছিলাম বাংলাদেশে দ্য রয়্যাল নরওয়ে দূতাবাসের রাষ্ট্রদূত হিজ এক্সেলেন্সি স্পেন রিক্টারের সঙ্গে। ওয়েলকাম এগেইন এক্সেলেন্সি at RTV studio. Excellency Sven, we have talked about a couple of areas where Norway is definitely interested or has already pledged their support to Bangladesh. Are there any sectors we have not spoken about where Norway has either given financial support or technical support in any development sectors?
Mention one because I'm a bit proud of it, actually.
Great.
And that is in the ship recycling industry.
ship recycling
Yeah.
industry.
There's a huge industry in Chittagong, Chattogram,
Well,
of course, and Bangladesh is a world leader in this industry.
shipbreaking.
Shipbreaking, ship recycling, I think now is
Recycling,
the
exactly.
good name for
Good
it.
name for it.
Yeah, and it's
But you
it's
have to
true.
consider the environmental issues.
Exactly, and that is what our project has been about.
Exactly.
We have been through IMO providing technical assistance to the government of Bangladesh
Well,
to upgrade and modernize the shipbreaking
Shipbreaking
industry
Oh,
to
wonderful.
environmental international standard under the Hong Kong Convention.
it's a
So
wonderful support,
and the progress
It's
has
a
been
very
amazing,
important support.
very important, and I think I mean it's now my hope that Bangladesh will carry out its promise to ratify the Hong Kong Convention in 2023.
That's great.
That will be a big game changer in this industry,
Exactly.
and it will enable Bangladesh to continue to be a
Right.
world leader in this extremely
Exactly, and
important industry.
it will be sustainable. Very good to know, Excellency. In the vision towards global peace, where does Norway see itself in the South Asia contest?
Actually, what has been the sort of Norwegian brand name in international peace is that we have been mediators and facilitators in several peace processes around the world, including in Asia. For example, in the Philippines, we have been closely involved in the peace process.
Well,
We have been working previously in countries like Myanmar, and we have all over the world. We have countries where Norway has been invited to be a facilitator by both parties to a conflict,
well,
and that is our sort of brand name in a way.
that's great. Mr. Ambassador, most of the cases, Bangladesh and other third world countries are suffering for climate changes. Do you think developed countries compensate the developing countries?
This is a big discussion now, and we just completed the COP26 in
Yeah.
Glasgow, and this was one of the big discussions. You know, the discussions about compensation and about loss and damage and all of these things. I'm glad that this is now firmly on the agenda of the work under the Paris Agreement.
Well,
And Norway is prepared to pay its part.
well,
The government
That's
recently
great.
announced that we will double our climate funding between now and
Well.
2026.
thank you. Excellency, you have a system whereby you have sovereign funds for your citizens from your oil industry. Would something like that be possible for Bangladesh? How would the citizens of Bangladesh benefit from something like this? So, what are the procedures?
The reason we have this is that over some decades we had enormous income from the petroleum sector. And we realized very quickly that if we put this money into our domestic economy, it will cause huge inflation and just probably cause the destruction of our economy, like we have seen in some countries. So another observation, of course, is that this is not really our money. It belongs to future generations.
Exactly.
So we found out we need to, first of all, limit how much money we spend.
Well,
And secondly, we need to put it aside outside our own economy. So we have this sovereign wealth fund, which is investing in every other or most other countries in the world except Norway. And so it's a big sort of savings account. So first, I think you need to have some money to save.
what are the procedure you are following?
Well, actually, the income from our petroleum sector, which of course one day it will be over.
Over, actually.
But until now it's coming through very high level of taxation of the petroleum companies, the companies that are exploiting the oil and gas from our continental shelf. So we tax them as much as we can. And then we put that money. There is a certain low percentage of the profit that can be channeled into our current budgets, but most of it goes into the sort of savings account, which is then managed by a fund under the Central Bank of Norway. And invested globally after very strict criteria and under ethical guidelines,
Right.
etc.
Wonderful. Bangladesh has also petroleum. In your view, how does Bangladesh take the example?
Well, I think the most important thing is to have effective taxation of the revenues from this sector.
Well,
So that is the starting point, because that is when you actually get the revenue that you can then save. Norway has for many years operated a development program called petroleum, what's it called? Oil for Development, Petroleum for Development, which is about how to organize this sector, including also the taxation part of it, which is very important, of course.
that's great. That's great. Very good to know, Excellency. Can you please share any success story through your last country program and new program planning?
Here in Bangladesh,
Here in Bangladesh.
yeah. So as I said previously, we don't do a lot of development projects anymore. We are more focused on economic cooperation
Well.
and commercial projects. But we have some selected bilateral programs which are quite successful. One of them is addressing, or two of them actually, is addressing this Rohingya situation.
Well,
One of them is actually making sure that the people in the camps and in the host communities use natural gas instead of burning wood.
well,
So there we saw the deforestation taking place, and that has stopped now,
It's stopped now.
because we are providing this natural
That's great.
gas cooking facilities.
that's great.
So that is one project. Another one is through the UNDP, that we monitor the security situation in the camps and around the camps. I
Well.
think is very important. We see how tense the situation can be sometimes. So those two projects relating to the Rohingyas, they are very important. We're doing a project with the International Finance Corporation on
Well.
giving women entrepreneurs easier
That's
access
great.
to credit. It's very important. So then I mentioned already the ship recycling project,
Exactly.
which we are still doing, and which is very important. But we don't do many more projects than that at the moment, because we see that another type of cooperation, another way of working with
Well.
Bangladesh is now more effective.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ambassador, what is your future plan on ship recycling project?
Oh, our hope is now that, as I said, that the Hong Kong Convention will be ratified by Bangladesh
Well.
in 2023. That will trigger the entry into force of the whole new global rules,
Well,
which will mean that the whole industry globally will be raised up to environmentally very good standards. So that is my hope for that project.
we are almost end of the program. Any final thoughts you want to share with our viewers through our channel?
No, I would just say that I'm extremely happy to be sort of back in Bangladesh, to be working here
That's great.
on the ground, and to see the development of this country. I think it's extremely important that the development is carefully managed, and that, as I mentioned earlier, the focus on the strength of the institutions,
Well,
and secure good lives for the citizens, and a good possibility for everybody, men and women,
well,
to actually take part in the economic cycles and in the economic activities in this country. In that way, I think there is a very good potential for this country to become very affluent in not too far future.
thank you very much indeed, Excellency, for joining with us. We hope we will get you soon any other program also.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank
It's been
you.
a pleasure.
দর্শক, বিকাশমান অর্থনীতির বাজার হিসেবে বাংলাদেশের চাহিদার কথা বলেছেন মাননীয় রাষ্ট্রদূত হিজ এক্সেলেন্সি এসপেন রিক্টার। বাংলাদেশের সূচনা লগ্ন থেকেই সহযোগিতার হাত বাড়িয়েছে নরওয়ে। বাংলাদেশের জ্বালানি, তথ্য প্রযুক্তি, জাহাজ নির্মাণ ও সামুদ্রিক খাতের সম্ভাবনা দেখেছে দেশটি। ফলে নরওয়ে ও বাংলাদেশের মধ্যকার দ্বিপাক্ষিক এই সম্পর্ক আজ রূপ নিয়েছে বাণিজ্যে। আসছে সময়ে বাণিজ্য বৃদ্ধি সহ সহযোগিতার এই ক্ষেত্র আরও প্রসারিত হোক, এই প্রত্যাশা শেষ করছি আজকের ডিপ্লোম্যাটিক জোন। এতক্ষণ আমাদের সঙ্গে থাকার জন্য ধন্যবাদ সবাইকে।